Hello YouTube. I'm actually quite excited about doing this review today because this one is entitled 10 TV shows or 10 kids TV shows that made my childhood. These are my top 10 and I'm going to be doing another review of 10 kids TV shows you've forgotten about. And this is mainly for, I guess, UK kids, 90's kids definitely, because I'm a 90's kid. But if anyone outside the UK is watching this, you probably have seen them as well. They're all pretty universal. But okay, number 10. The Tribe. Now, the reason I put this at number 10, even though this is my favourite kids kind of TV show of all time, is that I don't think many people that I know what this is. I know that it had a big fan base, but not from people that I know. And I watched this religiously. And I'm a proper geek. This is the only time I've done this. I've done this twice in my life. Once with Dark Angel, Jessica Alba, and once with The Tribe. I have every episode on tape. I taped it every week. Every week, without fail. I love this show. And it basically centred around a post-apocalyptic world full of kids. A virus was created to stop ageing, but it went haywire, messed up, and it killed all the adults. They all died. So it's basically about a bunch of kids ranging from from newborn up to sort of like 14, just trying to live and survive. And it ran for 5 series. It ran from 1999 to 2003, and they had a different thing to face each series. I think in season 1 it was kind of like getting to grips with being on their own and having no adults around, and there was a tyrannical warlord type called Zzzap. And in the second series, it was about it was kind of the aftermath of the whole season 1 drama, and a new threat, an invisible threat at that time, a threat that would come in season 3 called the Chosen, who were kind of like a Zoot cult. They worshipped him. And in season 4, it was the Technos, who were like a technologically advanced bunch of people, a bunch of kids. And in season 5, it was kind of the same thing, except it was more darker. There was a big fallout, and it never got picked up for season 6, even though they already wrote the script. And there was a movie they were going to make. For all you Tribe fans out there that like a bit of trivia, they were going to make a movie, but it seems that they felt that most of the cast were too old at that point, which is fair enough. Most of them were in their 20s by that point. But yeah, that was number 10. That was The Tribe. I love that show. Number 9, and I have music for this. Just need to sort out my webcam thing. So unprepared. Actually, no, I'm actually more prepared than I usually am. Funhouse! Hell yeah! I'm sorry. I just had to play it. I'm so sorry. I had to play the theme tune. You have to play the theme tune to Funhouse. You can't not play the theme tune. That's the best part of Funhouse, is the freaking theme tune. And that's kind of sad in a way, even though the show was really great. But the theme tune is what everyone remembers. And side note, I met Pat Sharp, who obviously this is the UK show. I don't know if many people know this, but the UK Funhouse was based off of a pre-existing Funhouse, which was done in America. So the Americans did it first, guys. Sorry, but they did. And Pat Sharp was the host of the UK one, which we all know who he is just from that, though. Side note, I think no more than 2 years ago, I'm not quite sure of the date, but no more than 2 years ago, I actually met Pat Sharp in a club. He was doing a celebrity DJ spot, and he was in our local alternative rock club. It's all metal music, it's all alternative music, and he was doing a DJ set downstairs. And I've got a photo with him on my Facebook somewhere. And everyone loves him. And it was the most bizarre thing to be in a metal club with a bunch of metalheads, you know, with like serious tunnels and piercings and whatnot. And then Pat Sharp's in there and he plays the Funhouse theme tune and everyone goes fucking mental. And they're all sort of my age, all in their 20s and 30s. And everyone goes mental and he's a hero. Everyone loves Pat Sharp. It's sad he doesn't have a mullet anymore because his mullet was epic, especially in the season 1. Seriously, that was some hair that was coming at ya. but we forgive him because he's just too cool. I swear to God, if I could have gone on Funhouse, I would have, because I really wanted to go down the slide at the end when they run through the Funhouse, all the different little stages, all the balls and the things that fall down. There was always confetti coming at your face and smoke. I always wanted to do the bit when they get to the slide and they goes down into the ball pit and they have to get out and they high five and then they, you know, swap over. Oh my God. And then, of course, if you loved Funhouse, you wanted to go on the little go-karts and do the Grand Prix and go around the circuit. That was amazing. Oh my God, no other TV show I don't think actually had anything like that at all. I mean, Gladiators had a travelator, but Jesus Christ, they had go-karts, you know. The UK one ran from 89 to 99. I do have my notes with me. I actually did the research. And of course, you can't forget Melanie and Martina, the red and yellow cheerleaders for the teams. I thought that was quite a good hook as well, because you always picked one. You're always like, I'm going to be on the red team this week, I'm going to be on the yellow team this week. And they look the same, so you couldn't really pick one every time, you know, and sort of be biased because they're the same. Of course, they had Gunge. It was like a staple piece of 90's kids shows, like Get Your Own Back. Get Your Own Back. I'm not going to review Get Your Own Back, so I might as well mention it now. Get Your Own Back, at the very end, if you answered enough correct questions, you got to dunk your parent into this huge vat of gunge. And things like Funhouse just loved it, and it was all about popping balloons with crap in them and dunking yourself into tubs of gunge and slime. And every kid wanted to do it, so of course you watched it because you just imagined yourself doing it. It was amazing. I love Funhouse. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I've written down here. No, there's not. I think I've mentioned pretty much everything that happened in Funhouse because you kind of have to watch it. You can't have someone tell you about it. But if they just made like a fun fair with the Funhouse in it, I honestly think that they'd make so much money because everyone would just do it. All the adults would do it. But yeah, okay, that was Funhouse. That was number 9. Number 8. Number 8. I won't actually tell you. I'm just gonna play something. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Actually, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna leave it running. Okay, Kenan and Kel. Oh man. Coolio, of course. Yeah, this ran from 1996 to 2000. I actually thought it ended a lot earlier than that, but I can't. Maybe it's just a lot of reruns that I saw. It only had 4 seasons, and I honestly thought there'd be more than that. Kenan and Kel was one of those strange shows. I mean, it was a 90s kids show, but it was just one of those shows that, like, it's kind of like I'm not going to put there's a reason why I don't have things like Fresh Prince in my list yet. I think Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Fresh Prince, just in case any of you suddenly want to comment on it and say why haven't you got them in there, they're kind of a force on their own. I don't want to put them in this list because everyone knows what Sabrina the Teenage Witch is. You don't even need me to review that. You know everything that happened in it. You know you watched it. And you know you watched Fresh Prince. And there's no point in me reviewing it because I wouldn't be able to do it justice. Just so you know, I did think of those, but they're not going in. Kenan and Kel, however, is going in because I don't think there's anyone I know that didn't watch it. You should have watched it. It was great. It was basically just about Kenan Thompson. Obviously their names were different in the show, but they used their real first names. So it was about Kenan and Kel was just a bumbling idiot. He really was. I mean, he didn't have a clue what was going on. He didn't have a clue what to do about anything. He was just the one who would always accidentally sabotage everything. There was some slapstick in it, which was funny, because it was funny watching Kel, you know, be stupid. And Kenan just kind of... Kenan was kind of like the Hardy to his Laurel, you know, and he never really berated him for messing everything up. He did it in the kind of, oh, I still love you man kind of way, which was nice. So he wasn't just watching Kel get yelled at every week. I mean, they'd always get themselves into really silly, messed up situations because it was always Kenan that got them in the situations. He was always the one that came up with the silly idea, the great scheme. It was always the great scheme with Kenan. So when Kel messed it up, it was kind of like just dessert. And I have a clip actually because there is, at least in my opinion, I mean, there's been a few like episodes that people will remember, like the one where they make a cure for the common cold and then forget it. There's the one where Kel is excellent at bagging the groceries at Rigby's, and then he goes in a competition against Kenan. Everyone remembers that. But this one, I think this is the pivotal moment. Okay, you have to remember that. I think that pretty much says it all, and I hope that brought back some memories for you, because it certainly brought something back for me when I was looking it up, I'll tell you that much. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I've got to say about Kenan and Kel. You can't really explain it more than that, because these are episodes. This isn't a movie review. These are episodes. There are so many of them, and it's a general plot, and it doesn't follow the same plot every week. So, you know, that's pretty much all I need to say. Oh, but if you want to know where they are now, Kenan's kind of doing acting and stuff like that, I think. I haven't actually looked up where they are. This is just from what I remember recently hearing about them. He's just doing random acting here and there, and the last time I saw Kel, he was hosting Dance 360 on, I can't remember what channel it was. I'm not sure, it was an American channel though, but it was aired here on one of the, I think it was a kids channel, I think it was something like Geo, something like that, they aired it on. And yeah, it was brilliant, that show. I love that show. I don't know if he's still doing it. I hope he's still doing it. And yeah, basically people just stood around in a circle and danced, and then they won an Xbox at the end if they were the winner. Oh, actually, there is one thing, if anyone knows that show, I'd like to apologise for, there was one episode that I did, I watched a bunch of episodes of that, but there was one that I watched, and of course all these people that are on there are Americans, except for this one time when I saw a British girl on there. She was very British, like she had the kind of, oh yes, posh, oh yes, I'm from London accent and everything. Oh, I'd like to apologise for anyone that saw that, because she made a right fucking show of herself. She really did. I mean, I can't dance, but Jesus Christ, everyone's out there doing proper dance moves. Like, they are, even if they're not trained, they've trained themselves to do dance moves. She got out there and she just started grinding with the air, and she had this, she kicked her shoes off as well, which was quite disrespectful. And then she just like started, that was it, that was her move, and it sucked, and she looked like a slut. Oh my god. So yeah, I'd like to apologise for that woman, you know, tainting the British name. Dunno. Okay, that's number 8, that was Kenan and Kel. Okay, this is one, I'm not sure if this was aired in the US, so you may not notice, but this is one for my UK brethren, I guess. Number 8. Oh, number 7 we're at. Zapp. Now, for those of you that don't know this show was epic and you fucking missed out. Okay, Zapp was awesome. It was one of those kind of aimed at the younger audience. It wasn't a baby's show, but it was kind of like, you know, sort of 4 to sort of about 10, you know, and it was on ITV, and I'm pretty sure I remember it being the last show of the you know, of the evening, like, you know, when they sort of end, and it was the last one. And basically it had a bunch of characters, and it was a comic book page, but it was a real set that they'd built to look like a comic book page, and there were little squares, and they had a character, and the camera would zoom in to the character, and then you'd get like a sort of a 5 to 10 minute sketch of whatever that character represented. There was Daisy Dares, I think it was called Daisy Dares You at some point. That was my favourite. There was Cuthbert Lily, He's So Silly. There was the Handyman. And there was Smarty Arty. There was I think there was a witch character added in later seasons, but not when I was a kid. And then there was a couple of random squares. I think one just had like a leg hanging out of it, going like that. And then there was like a bouncing cloud or a lightning thing. It was just random stuff. But yeah, Cuthbert Lily was kind of like Mr. Bean, but stupid. I mean, he didn't. None of them spoke. None of these characters ever said a word. It was all noises. It was like that was literally. And Cuthbert Lily was just basically a kind of sketch of him doing something silly. You know, he'd go and buy some food, and he'd forget his money, and then he would come up with an ingenious plan of retrieving his money without them yelling at him. And there'd always be like some sort of gesture, you know, like really silly, stupid ass gestures. But But he was quite funny. Smarty Artie I never took any notice of because I didn't like art, and I still don't. So I never really watched that bit because it was basically just a mini art attack. It was just like he did a quick sketch that you could do yourself, and being a young kid it obviously wasn't going to be that hard. Handymen I didn't like much either because they were art based as well. It was basically two hands, one had a blue glove on and one had a yellow glove I think, and it was on a stage, like a theatre stage, and the red curtains would go back and the whole audience was just hands going like that clapping, and at the end they just all clapped together, and basically it was just a guy with his hands on the stage and he would make something, you know, he would make, I don't know, he'd get like an old egg holder box and then cut that up and put some tape around it and a thing and make a boat, you know, just something silly, just do little silly things. But that was quite popular, I guess, because it was interesting because you weren't having someone talk over it, it was like you watched them. But my favourite one, of course, was Daisy Dares. I love Daisy Dares. She was kind of like Dennis the Menace, but a girl, but with yellow and black stripes instead of red. And what she would do is she would get about 2 or 3 kids and they would do something messy. She would set up, she'd be like, right, you know, whoever gets 5 points by doing the, you know, playing basketball is the winner. But the ball would be full of custard or something like that. There was always something messy and something wrong. So she basically tricked them, and she'd always stand there going, it's really stupid face. And all the kids would go, yeah. So she'd basically just like fuck up their day really, and they found it funny. And then they'd like faux yell at her. That was about it really. And then yeah. That's pretty much it for Zapped. It was a good show. I think I might have to try and find that on YouTube and see if I can watch some. But yeah, it was a good show. Give it a look actually, because if you did miss it, it'd be nice to at least, you know about it. Okay, last but not least, because I'm going to do this in 2 parts. Simply because I haven't finished my notes for the top 5. But I think it's better to do it in little parts because then you don't get bored watching a half an hour video. Okay, so number 6, and the last one for this video is Rugrats. I'm not playing the theme tune, don't worry. Rugrats. Now, Rugrats is in here because, well, this is a list of childhood shows that kind of made my childhood. I watched a lot of TV as a kid. I really did watch a lot of shows, and with all these movie reviews I'm doing, I'm going to try and review as many movies from my collection as possible because I've seen thousands of films, and it's hard to pick a top anything, you know, so... It's kind of hard to make this list in general, even though it's only TV shows. But Rugrats is on here because I do remember watching the first lot of episodes. I do. And it came out in 91 in the UK, and I was 5. And I do have a memory, because I remember them saying, we've got a brand new show, Rugrats, and then playing it. And it's just one of those shows that even if you were like 13 and you watched it, you wouldn't get ridiculed for it. You know? Very few shows did that, especially seeing as it was about a bunch of babies. But people would be like, oh yeah, I know, I watched that too. Rugrats ran from 1991 to 2004, which I didn't know. Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm good. It ran to 2004, and I thought it ended a lot earlier than that, but it didn't. They did do a kind of sequel series called All Grown Up, which was when they were about 12. Because it jumped straight from them being babies to when they were about 12, and that started in 2003. So that's weird that they kept the original run going of the babies over a year over when they started the new series. But they did. It ran for 9 seasons, and as far as I'm aware, they're all out on DVD. I actually forgot to tell you about the DVDs of the other ones, but I don't think the others are yet. But yeah, they released season 3 to 9 last year, and they released the first 2 in 2009, so you should be able to get those. I think you can get them anywhere. I don't think they're just region 1, but I'm not sure. Rugrats is another one of those shows where people remember the same episode, you know. I mean, there are a lot of episodes and you've probably seen all of them, but you don't remember all of them. You remember bits, but you don't know what the episode's called, you know, blah, 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 stuff like that. But I think everyone remembers things like Chucky's haircut and just Angelica being a bitch all the time. Oh my god, if she was, I would have bitch slapped that girl, my god. I hated Angelica, even though she was my favourite character, I still hated the hell out of her. Yeah, I mean, Phil and Lil, Tommy, Chucky, Angelica, Dill in the later seasons. I don't think I've missed anyone, apart from their parents, obviously. I mean, they were all really good characters because they all had something different to kind of bring to it. Even though Chucky was a whining little pussy, still found him quite cute and adorable and still watched him. I think that's about it that I've got all for my notes. But there was a bunch of things. I mean, I don't remember what one it was, but I remember there being a really big baby in one of the episodes. Like a really big baby. And it was scary. It was a scary baby. I'm not quite sure. I think I'm going to try and look that one up. But yeah, they just basically got into different hijinks. You know, they'd have baby adventures. They'd always climb, every episode, they'd just climb out of that little playpen. Or he'd get his screwdriver and flick the little latch up every single time. And then they always just got back in time, right before their parents noticed them. I think there was one where they had an adventure where they ended up in a bank. And they just kind of explored the bank and got into the vault or something like that. But yeah, it was a good show. It was interesting because everyone was different, even though it's the same location, same characters. It was still different. And they had a movie, of course, so that's a plus. I think that's about it for Rugrats. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Yeah, that was top 10 childhood TV shows that made my childhood, and that was 10 to 6. The next one's going to be the top 5. I think I might do that now, but I'm going to cut it off here, so just look out for part 2. Okay.